Welcome to this video entitled Pathways and Waterways, where we're going to explore the oldest transportation networks in the continent of North America, starting before European colonization.
We'll also be talking about why our roads are the way they are in North Carolina, and even why our cities are the way they are. So come along with us. For as long as humans have lived in North Carolina, the most common mode of transportation has been walking. There was a horse native to North America, but it went extinct right around the end of the last ice age. The first Americans to come into this area were following herds of animals. They would follow them to see where they crossed rivers and things like that because they always knew where the shallow places were. One of those shallow places is right here where we are right now, on Trading Ford Island over the Yadkin River. This became one of the most important crossings during the colonial period, and is still very close to a very important crossing today.
Trading Ford Island is located between Rowan and Davidson County on the Yadkin River, and is accessible by boat using the Yadkin River Park landing. You can view Trading Ford Island while traveling on Interstate 85 on the Veterans Memorial Bridge. If you're traveling north, the island will be on your right. If you're traveling south, the island will be located on your left while you were driving on the bridge. Because there were no horses or other pack animals, all trade goods had to be carried by hand. And so when tribes throughout North America would find other tribes with different goods that they wanted, they would meet at places like this, like the Trading Ford, to trade those goods. We have evidence of that because when you look at different types of goods that have been found here, different types of stone tools that have been found here, the rocks and those goods are not native to North Carolina. They were made in other places in North America and traded through networks that went all the way through the continent. So not only were trade goods and stone tools being brought into the area that's North Carolina today, there were also things that were made here in this area that were sent out. Rhyolite from Morrow Mountain has been found in Maine, across the Mississippi River, and in Florida, that just shows how vast these trade networks were.
Those paths that connected Native Americans to natural resources also connected them to each other. Road networks started to connect thousands of Native American villages. And those road networks are, in some ways, things we still use to this day.
Native American tribes here in what would become North Carolina not only walked to trade goods and to move their people around, they could also use rivers. And so they would build canoes and create canoes out of wood to go up and down rivers throughout what would become North Carolina, just like we were doing today to get to the Trading Ford.
Canoes were made from hollowed out trees, and the way that they made it was pretty ingenious. They would use clay to control a fire, and as the fire burned the tree trunk, they would use their axes made of stone to chip away what had been burned. So they never really had to get into chopping raw wood. What they would do is they would use the fire to char, and then come in with that rock and knock out the charred areas until they had the depth that they wanted in the canoe. One really cool thing is that some of these canoes are still being found. 1,000-year-old canoes are being pulled out of Lake Waccamaw, which, when you think about it, is really awesome because that connects us directly with this Native American past.
In the mid-1500s, Europeans began to travel across the Atlantic Ocean to North America. They found that these native road networks were beneficial to their goal of exploration.
The caravel ship was developed by the Portuguese for exploration beginning in the 15th century and allowed Europeans to cross the Atlantic. Caravels had a shallow draft, allowing navigation from deep sea to shallower rivers with ease. While the Spanish expeditions did not establish any permanent settlements in North Carolina, by the 1580s another European power set their sights on expanding their lands to the east coast of North America. England began sending men and ships to determine ideal settlement locations. There are two that are the most famous.
The first is Roanoke, a colony settled in 1587 on an island between the Outer Banks and the mainland. After initial settlement, a member sailed back to England to resupply, and upon returning in 1590, found the area deserted. The fate of the colony is still debated and researched today. The first permanent English foothold was Jamestown, and was settled in southern Virginia. After years of struggle, colonists there were able to create a self-sufficient community that began to attract new settlers to explore the land that would become Virginia and North Carolina. The rivers that connect the regions of North Carolina are plentiful, but also treacherous. Even with the shallow caravel, the river flow and shallowness prevented ships from exploring inland. Many explorers that came by sea in boats found the best way to explore was on foot.
In fact, in the 1540s, Hernando de Soto, a Spanish conquistador, used those road networks to come into what is now North Carolina. His expedition entered North Carolina around Charlotte and went out towards Morganton, then went across the mountains into Tennessee and eventually as far west as Arkansas. In the 1560s, a man named Juan Pardo came into this area of North Carolina with about 120 Spanish conquistadors again. That expedition actually resulted in the building of some forts, and near here, not only a fort, but also the first Catholic mission in what is now the United States.
The first Catholic mission was at a town called Guattari, which was named for the tribe that controlled this area at the trading ford. One interesting thing that the Spanish made sure to note is that the Guattari tribe had a female chieftain as its head, who was over 39 lesser chiefs as well. So even that dynamic was different. The Spanish made sure to mention that in the writings that they sent home to Europe. We hope that you've enjoyed Footpaths and Waterways, a look at the earliest modes of transportation here in the North Carolina area.
We're standing in the square here in Salisbury, where two major Native American paths came together in the 16 and 1700s. Right behind us is the Great Iroquois Warrior Path, which stretched from Salisbury all the way up into Pennsylvania. Eventually it would be called the Great Wagon Road. Over this way is the Great Trading Path, which nowadays we would call 29 or 85. And that one went from Salisbury up into Petersburg.
As European settlement became more prolific in the mid-1700s, settlers relied on these native paths to become more established roads to help them move into the North Carolina backcountry.
And many of those networks are what we still rely on today.